Yo, so you guys caught last week's episode of Pugliese Speed Shop. See, me and old Wade went on a road trip, and it's always a good time, because he just knows where everything's at and always just finds these places. It's amazing, and you might wonder, how does he do it? Well, that's what we're going to talk about on this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. Everybody knows one of these guys, right? I know, your family always has one, no matter what, right? And there's way more than one. Like back in the day, like your father or your uncles, your grandfather, they all knew how to get everywhere. They just went, right? There was no GPS, there was no MapQuest. They read an atlas and they studied it and learned that thing. And it was kind of funny because I remember anywhere you went, especially, we moved from Long Island up to Pennsylvania. I was a teenager and we'd go back to Long Island to see family. Every time they asked my father, how'd you come in? I took the Gospels over to Verrazano down the Belt Parkway. Oh, the Belt Parkway, Or I went over here. Oh, you should have gone up this way around, 210, whatever. They knew all the road numbers. They knew all of this, right? And nowadays, you punch in the GPS and you just start driving. And you have no idea where you are. You have no idea what's around you. And it's crazy because, guys, we have all this technology, instruments, and all this stuff that we can use to find this stuff. And instead, what do? We stay on the highway and we stop at frickin' Buc-ee's. So I finally made it to Buc-ee's down here in Florida. I'm going to be honest, this is going to be an unpopular opinion on the internet. I'm not impressed. I 100 gas pumps, there's still lines and trashy tacos. Come on, Buc-ee's, you can do better. Or something like that. And you're like, there's so much better stuff out there. So how do you find it? Let's sit down and talk about it. Guys, you could probably tell by my appearance, but I'm a Gen X guy, right? And I am so happy that I am because we got the best of all worlds. And let me explain why. All right. The guys before us, they got some problems with technology, right? Maybe they don't know how to use the apps and all that kind of stuff. And they're getting there, right, as time goes on. But we grew up through all these changes, right? The ones after us, forget about it, right? My buddy Nick, you guys met Nick? He was talking to me one day and he says, man, how did you guys get around before GPS? And I was like, well, we had an atlas. He said, an atlas? He said, yeah, like a road atlas. And I showed him the atlas I had. And he said, you're like Magellan over here, like charting freaking courses. Are you serious? This is what you did? Because he's about 10 years younger than me, right? He's what they call an elder millennial. And that's just because they don't want to be lumped in with the rest. I kid. Kind of. But, no, that's really what it is. He's about 10 years younger than me, and he remembered MapQuest, right? But before that, he was younger, and you get in a car and you go. And, wherever you end up is because your parents want to take you there, and that's it. You didn't have any say in it. You didn't have DVD players on the back of the window. You didn't have, we had, bring a book. I don't read. I had a Walkman, and my father would yell at me the whole time that I'm listening to it too loud because I'm disturbing him. Right? And kicking the back of the seat. All the stuff we used to get yelled at for. And now I get it. But they just knew, right? That's what we think. They just knew. No, nobody just knows, right? They paid attention because they didn't have all the stuff distracting them now, right? I knew how to get around because we were in the back of the car and I was tired of getting yelled at about my headphones. I'd turn them down. I'd actually look around, enjoy it. And it's I don't want to sound like, kids today, get off my lawn, but we don't do that. They forget. They don't pay attention, right? And it's not just kids. I'm not blaming it on the younger generation because I know plenty of people my age. It's like, I don't know how to get there. I just punch it in the GPS. And sometimes, I'm guilty of it too. I got to just get somewhere. I don't want to play around. But I think I mentioned this when I came back from the Smoky Mountains. I didn't want to just get on the highway and go. And that's where the GPS wanted to take me. But there's other routes you can take. You can look into, there's apps you can do. I mean, if you don't want to, let me tell you, old Wade, when we went out to Sturgis, and I know I talked about this before, this guy had a PowerPoint set up, right? Because he's a little technologically advanced as well, right? He might have a couple years on me, but he's changed with the times, you know? So he actually, and we gave him a hard time, but it was plotted. Everything was plotted out perfect. We said, all right, we're going to leave here. And actually, first we had a meeting. And he brought up the spreadsheet, and and you click on it, and you go to a map, and it show you what road you're taking, and you punch this in, and here's a course he set up. And he emailed it to all of us. So all we had to do was open up this email, hit the attachment, and go. Of course, you guys know technology. I had a newer motorcycle. You plug it in, boom, it just brought me there, which was great. Absolutely. He spent a ton of time on that. And guys, he had gas stops plotted out and hotels, and you can do all this kind of stuff, right? And it doesn't just happen. Well, I'm the guy that I don't plan that much stuff, right? What I did is I rode in the back. I didn't have GPS on the whole ride. 50-something, 100 miles. Just going. And I'm looking around. I'm enjoying, right? I can probably get around most of that stuff again, but and I still do it now, guys. There's people that I know that will put on Waze or whatever to get to work every day, 15 miles, whatever they drive. And some guys do it for, so you know where the cops are at or something. But they're just so programmed, right? You can't do it, man. Like on that last episode, we went into that burger joint. Let me tell you how I think I mentioned in the episode, but we're driving. Like, hey, man, I'm getting hungry. Because we took off, we stopped at a truck stop. Old Wade topped off. We grabbed some breakfast and a cup of coffee or whatever, and we went. And we followed GPS to go to this guy's house, which, let me tell you, it was out there. All right? There was no other way we were finding this. So we got all the stuff, and then we're coming back. Well, actually, we continued on. And we said, okay, well, we're getting hungry again. It's hours later. So let's get some lunch. And we're just driving down the road. Now, old Wade usually has a little process that he's figured out when he plots out his course. And he says, okay, I'm going to get here about this time. I'm going to want dinner about this time. What's there? And he looks at it, and he goes through the reviews and all that stuff. And guys, he nails it. We had a place, when we went down to North Carolina a couple months ago, we met Kevin. Motto on this place, it was Italian place in a strip mall in middle of nowhere, North Carolina. And guys, I thought I was in Brooklyn. I'm telling you, it was amazing. This food was, and Kevin, he grew up in New York as well, and he's a little bit harder to please than I am. He was couldn't believe it, right? All using old Wade's method. Now, he did give us one or two places to pick from, and Megan picked the Italian joint, and she nailed it. So the two of them made a great team with that one. But what I'm saying is, he's got it all planned out. Well, we didn't exactly do that. We didn't know where we were going to be when. So he's like, hey, man, find a place. And I'm like, uh-oh. This is quite the responsibility to take his job, because he was driving, right? And I said, I was gonna start looking, and I said, hey, look at that right there. He says, what? I said, right over here, let's check it out. Waffle House, let's go there. I know he loves Waffle House. He's like, I'll eat Waffle House, sure. He pulls in there, and then we see, hey, right next door is this sports bar place. Let's check this joint out. So we end up going in there. Guys had an amazing burger. It was awesome, right? As we're sitting there eating, we're looking outside, and we're like, what is that place across the street? You can see the windows were like kind of tinted, but you could see older cars. There was like a Volkswagen bus I could see. I think I saw a Camaro. And I was like, look at that. Is that a Chevelle? What is that? He's like, I don't know. So we're leaving, guys, and we were this close to just making a right and going. And it's like, he said, well, we got a little bit of time. I said, yeah. You know what, man? I'd like to see what's in there. He's like, I'm making a left. dude, make the left. We get in there. We still have no idea what it is. Like, this side was that dealership that I walked you guys through. And this side was some kind of restoration place. And there were some cool cars over there. It's like, I was checking them out. And he's like, dude, focus. We're going over here. We went in. You guys saw the video. You could buy anything you want. They had cars in there from, I think the lowest was about 12,000, 15,000, up to 150,000. And I'm not even exaggerating, right? So, I mean, no matter what your budget is, $15,000 for a clean running drive, once it's like a 67 Belvedere, I think it was. Guys, that's a beautiful car for $15,000. If you're not, don't have your heart set on some kind of vehicle, you want an old car to cruise around in, that was it, right? And then if you're that guy that wants to special to it, that, they had the Camaros and all that stuff there for a lot more money. But we spent a half an hour walking around that place, and we talked about it for hours after that. We got, it was like, you couldn't believe it. So if we didn't make that left, we would never know. We would have just kept going to where we were going to go and gotten there 30 minutes sooner. I mean, you tell me, right? We stopped at a couple other little places along the way. Nothing really to run home about. The one place, was it Carolina Apparel? That place, if you're in a Carhartt and stuff, that place was awesome. They had everything you could ever think of at really good prices. So better than those outlet stores they tell you about, right? But this was on the side of the freeway in the middle of nowhere. Well, actually, highway. It wasn't a freeway. But we stayed. We hit a couple of freeways because, I mean, at some point you gotta. But on the way there, nope. I mean, we just kind of played it, and now we know where these places are. And then coming back, guys, we did the same thing. We stopped along the way, picked up some other stuff, and I don't want to give it all away. Let's just say that the whole trip was awesome because we just kept looking for new stuff and different stuff. And I mean, yeah, anybody can make a left and pull into there's a McDonald's. Ugh, why would you do that, right? Or even, I'm not going to say any other names. Like, guys, I just can't even stand, like 90% of chain places I think we could do without. But everybody loves them because they're trendy, right? Well, we make it a point to not do that, especially when I'm back home. Because, like, here we're in like a rural type setting. We have all the chain stuff down by the base. I do my damnedest to stay away from it. And because of that, I'm hitting back roads, and I hit there's a diner by my house that's awesome. And not a lot of people know about it. Like you got to live around here to know about it. And those are the kind of places that we found going there and back. And I'll talk about the back ones later, but you got to wait and see. I don't want to spoil you. All right. So if you're out there, you got a couple minutes to spare, make the left, check out what's there. And God, you never know what you're going to find. We could have found our dream car in there. And if you remember, I kind of did. So I'm not buying nothing yet, but you don't know what you don't know. Take time, guys. Where have I heard this? There's a saying I've heard before. Life moves pretty fast. I think you guys know the rest of it. But if not,
life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Thanks for watching, guys.